the final scene, Jackson tells Willis that he's the guy.
It all makes sense. In a comic, you know how you can tell who the arch villain's going to be? He's the exact opposite of the hero.
So, Jill wanted to enlist Priscilla in her genetic detective work, but there was a practical problem. She had no idea how to go about reaching her.
I mean, I've had crazy ideas like, could I fly to Canada and show up at a meet and greet and try to talk to her? And it's, if you're on this motorized scooter, and it's like, you know, you're just going to end up restraining order at best. I mean, people would think you're crazy. You know, I was just trying to resign myself to the fact that, well, you know, what am I going to do?
A full year passed. And then Jill happened to be in earshot of her television when I started yammering about athletes and genetics on Good Morning America.
Find the best fit for your unique genome and then specialize in the mid-team.
And I thought, oh, this is just divine providence. This is exactly what I'm looking for.
Jill reached out to me with a request, and I did happen to have a way to get it to Priscilla, through her agent.
It was such an odd request. It's just really out there, right?
This, of course, is Priscilla.
He's just like this lady. She's in Iowa. She says she has the same gene as you and wants to have a conversation. I was kind of like, oh, I don't know, Chris, and like, just have a conversation, like, see where it goes.
Jill sent Priscilla the same bound packet that she sent me, and it wasn't any of the cryptic science that got to Priscilla. It was the childhood stories Jill shared about kids pointing at the veins in her legs. Priscilla said she always used to come home sad and crying. She'd ask her parents,
can I get the veins removed from my legs because, you know, the boys are making fun of me? Just like, ew, your legs are veiny. Ew, like, why does it look like that?
Once she grew up, the finger pointing didn't end. It just morphed. When people see huge, shredded muscles like Priscilla's on an athlete, it usually means one thing: steroids. And Priscilla's been dogged by doping rumors since college. After she won the Olympic bronze medal in Beijing, some media outlets in Europe began to openly accuse her. And, of course, there were the not-so-furtive glances.
You'd walk by and people kind of like would whisper like, oh, look at her glutes, or look at her arms, and her shoulders, and her calves, and just like, oh, look. It's more like on the internet. I remember there was one picture put up. They put like a big dude's face on my body, and he's just like, kind of like, I'm lifting because I'm like running and pushing towards the finish line, so I'm using every ounce, every inch, you know, every like just piece of energy in my body to get to that finish line. That was pretty messed up, and I was really pissed about that. And I got tested, like, I felt like I was targeted because I got tested so much for track and field. And I think a lot of people really honestly truly believe that I was taking steroids.
At the World Championships in Berlin in 2009, Priscilla was drug tested just minutes before winning a silver medal. There's not even supposed to be any drug testing that close to the race. Then the following month at a meet in Greece, someone stole her training journal out of her bag. It was at the very bottom, underneath expensive workout clothes and shoes, none of which were taken. Why steal a training journal? As someone who's covered a lot of doping stories, I'm convinced someone thought the journal contained her steroid regimen. Priscilla and Jill spent a lot of time talking on the phone. And 8 months after I first became in touch, we finally met in person, in Toronto, where Priscilla lived. They picked a hotel lobby. Jill arrived first.
So it got to be a few minutes past the time we were going to meet, and then a couple more minutes, and I started to get really scared. I'm like, I have so much writing on this. I was just watching the doors like, okay, is this her? Is this her? You know, I wasn't sure, and I see this lady that, oh my gosh, this is like seeing family.
Priscilla felt the same way.
It really was just like a wow moment. Like, do I know you? Kind of thing. Like, how do you? So then we start talking, kind of just giggling about, like, okay, I'm gonna flex for you, and and then she like, you know, it's a little harder for her to get her sweater off, so she's pulling her sweater off to show me. She's like, see, I do have the definition too. I'm like, you do. But she's like, but it's not smaller than yours. And then we kind of giggled, but it was still like, okay, there's something real, there's something here. Let's research it, let's find out, because how could the gene do this to you and do this to me? That was where my question was. I'm like, how?
It took a year to find a doctor to test Priscilla. Finally, Jill went to a medical conference and approached the foremost expert in lipodystrophy, Dr. Abhimanyu Garg, who runs a lab at University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center. He agreed to do the testing. The results showed that Jill had been right. She and Priscilla do have a genetic connection. They each have a single typo on the same one of our 23,000 genes, the lamin gene. It's not the exact same typo, but they're almost right next to each other. That splinter of distance and typo location makes the difference between Jill's muscles and Priscilla's muscles. It's why Jill has Emery-Dreifuss, and Priscilla doesn't. But Dr. Garg also found that they do share a disease. They both have the exact same rare subtype of lipodystrophy, the disease that wastes away fat. Jill had been told it had nothing to do with her back when she was a summer intern at Johns Hopkins. Jill had been right about that all along. Dr. Garg called Priscilla immediately to give her the news. He caught her at the mall, shopping with her kids.
And I was just dreaming about going and getting a big, juicy burger and fries. And Dr. Garg calls me and says, I have your results. I'm like, okay. And then I was like, can I call you back? Because I'm in the mall right now. He goes, no, it's kind of important. Are you about to go eat lunch? And I was like, yes. He's like, you're only allowed to have salad. You're on track for a pancreatitis attack. And I was like, say what?
Then he told Priscilla that despite her rigorous training regimen, her untreated lipodystrophy left her with 15 times the normal amount of fat in her blood. Her next hamburger could land her in the emergency room. She was that close. In other words, once again, Jill steered someone away from a medical disaster. She'd saved her dad's life. Now using the cutting-edge medical tool known as Google Images, she caused the most intense medical intervention in the life of this professional athlete.
That's when I was just like, oh my gosh, like, if this wasn't for Jill, I would definitely have been in the hospital. And I called her and I told her, I was like, you pretty much just saved me from having to go to the hospital. And she goes, what? I go, Dr. Garg told me that I have the gene and my numbers are like out of the roof.
Scientists can learn all sorts of things by studying very rare genetic diseases. For instance, research on a rare gene mutation that gives people freakishly low cholesterol levels led to a drug that treats high cholesterol. An Alzheimer's treatment might come from studying a small group of people in Iceland. They have a super rare mutation that protects their brains. Recently, a group of scientists started something called the Matchmaker Exchange. It's a kind of OkCupid for rare diseases, where people can share genetic and symptom information with each other and doctors. The hope is that it will spark new discoveries.
It's just the willpower of Jill that make things possible.
That's Etienne Lefebvre, a molecular biologist in France. He does super technical work on a protein with the lovely name SREBP1. It affects fat storage, and his research team showed that messing around with it can create mice with almost no muscle at all, or potentially little rodent Schwarzeneggers. When Jill first reached him, she told him that he may have found the actual biological mechanism that makes her and Priscilla so different.
Okay, that triggers a kind of reflection from my side, saying, that's a really good question. That's a really, really good question. Because I have no idea of what I can do with genetic disease before she contacted me. Now, I have changed a part of my team, research subject, and this is only because Jill contacted me 2 years ago. She is totally awesome.
And have you ever had the experience of someone outside the scientific community affecting your research agenda in this kind of way?
In my life, no. People from outside coming and giving me hopes, new idea. I have no other example of this kind of things. You know, maybe happen once in a scientific class.
Of course, this is so different than the skepticism Jill's gotten from scientists and doctors for decades. I checked back in with one of the doubters, Robert Green. You know, the geneticist at Harvard I first talked to, who was so incredulous about any genetic connection between Jill and Priscilla. I emailed him the results of Priscilla's genetic test.
Oh, I was knocked over. I was completely and utterly astounded. And I remember thinking I was ashamed that I had doubted this individual because she turned out to have a remarkable discovery.
About a week after I talked to Drs. Green and Lefebvre, I played those conversations back for Jill.
Mm-hmm.
Could you hear that okay?
Yeah.
And so what's in your mind when you hear that?
Yeah, it really does feel really good. It's kind of like this weight come off of me. So I'm exhausted emotionally and intellectually and in every way possible. And I'm so happy. You know, I don't want to be the crazy person that's on the internet all the time coming in. You know, I really feel confidence we can go somewhere with this. And I got some really great people.
Jill says she's proved her point. She says she's retiring from DIY medical research. She gave me the same line that professional athletes use. I want to spend more time with my family. But her mother doesn't believe she's retiring, nor does Dr. LaFay, and I certainly don't believe her. Recently, Jill sent me an email. She picked up on a tidbit in a very technical scientific paper about potentially reversing muscular dystrophy. I don't want to read too much into this, she wrote me, but of course, I'm curious.
And author of the book Sports Gene. He has more about Jill and Priscilla, including jaw-dropping photos at ProPublica.org. Coming up, we started today's program with the color green. That was not green. After the break, Tig Notaro finds a joke. It is also not a joke. It's from WBEZ Chicago when our program continues.
You're tuned to Colorado Public Radio News with all the major stories from around the nation, the world, and around Colorado.
And I donated a car to Colorado Public Radio. I had a car, it was good to me, but it had some costly repairs. It needed a new transmission and a lot of other work. And my partner and I talked about it and decided that we could really be a one-car household, and decided that we hadn't been able to give to Colorado Public Radio in the past, and this was a great way to make a large gift. I had heard the radio spots about how easy it was, and it really was even easier. Donate your car at cpr.org.
This is American Life from Hourglass. Each week on the program, of course, we choose a theme, bring you different kinds of stories on that theme. Today's show, something only I can see. We have stories of people who spot something that no one else has noticed and then feel compelled to tell somebody, show somebody, do something about it. We've arrived at Act 2 of our program, Act 2, Mom Jokes. So comedians don't usually laugh at their own jokes, as a rule. It's gauche, it makes things less funny, as a rule. But, as Van Halen once said, rules are for fools. Tig Notaro has been on our program before. She talked to Nancy Updike about a recent rule-breaking edition of one of her stand-up shows.
As we know, 58% of all important events in America start in the car. Tig and her fiancé Stephanie were driving along with
her mother, her sister, my stepfather, and my brother. And we were in New Orleans. And
this is a big car.
Yeah, we had an SUV. And my fiance, her mother was telling us this joke that she had come up with, and in trying to tell the joke that she had made up, she was laughing so hard she couldn't get the joke out.
This went on for a couple of minutes, laughing, catching her breath, almost starting to tell the joke, and then more uncontrollable laughing, until everyone in the car was laughing, just watching her trying to tell the joke.
Like, I don't know that I've ever written a joke this funny. This is,
right, this is my job, and I have never made somebody laugh as you are making your own self laugh.
Exactly. It's just like, what, come on, Carol, what is this joke?
And then Tig had a vision of what needed to happen at her next stand-up show.
It became very apparent to me. I just thought, oh my gosh, I have to have her on my show to tell her joke, whatever it is.
Before she got to the joke, before she even told the joke, just while she was laughing.
Yeah, oh my gosh, immediately. Oh boy. Coming to the stage, please welcome my girlfriend's mother, Carol Ashton.
2 weeks after the car ride, Tig made her vision come true. Carol walks onto the stage at a comedy club in Los Angeles called Largo. She's not in jeans, she's not in comedy club casual. She is a tasteful mom in cropped white pants carrying her purse. She is a civilian.
Yeah, how are you feeling?
Well, I can't really describe how I'm feeling because I've never felt this emotion before. So I don't know what it is.
You just bummed everyone out, Carol.
Carol knew 2 things about her own joke when she walked onto the stage. She knew that it was not a very good joke. She told Tig, when Tig was trying to convince her to come on stage, she said, "This is nuts. Nobody's gonna laugh." Carol also knew that she herself could not tell the joke without laughing. She was living the mystery many of us have lived, the all the way inside joke, the joke that is funny beyond reason in your head and you cannot communicate the funniness because you don't even understand it. That's what Carol knew. So she was nervous.
Can you tell me how and when you thought of the joke?
Okay, well, first, I would feel a lot more comfortable.
If I laughed?
No, actually, I would feel a lot less uncomfortable if you told
If everyone laughed.
Yeah. But if you told them this was not my idea.
Oh, they know that one. Was there one person at all here tonight? Do not be shy. Raise your hand if you think Carol Ashton said, hey Tig, it's Carol. I have got stand-up that is going to blow your mind. Carol, I can't just put you on stage at Largo. Wait till you hear the joke, kid. Kid? Must be good. Nobody here thinks that you asked to be here. Were you driving along and the idea came to you?
Yeah, I was driving alone and I got this great idea. I thought, this is a very funny joke.
Which is why you're here tonight, Carol.
Not here. First I have to explain that it's kind of like...
Okay, go ahead.
Well,
set it up.
That it's like a play on words.
Fucking hate
you
this
know?
light.
So...
Fucking
It's
hate
good
this
to
light.
explain what genre the joke is. Don't let them figure it out. You tell them. Tell them, Carol.
Right, well, Stephanie said it's like that Lou Gehrig joke where it's, gee, what are the odds of Lou Gehrig getting Lou Gehrig's disease? It's that kind of joke.
All right, we got the genre down.
So I'm driving along and it came to me about, the only problem is it's about somebody that's not really in the news, well, never really in the news, but in the public eye anymore.
Okay, so it is out of date.
Yeah, it's out of date, that's the downside.
All right, so we got the genre.
Yeah.
We have established that this is completely out of date material.
And so since you're the comedian,
Not right now.
Of course, everything Carol is doing is usually comedy death, explaining the joke, exposing the machinery of it. And she is killing.
should I say who the joke is about?
Well,
That's necessary, right?
it's your joke.
Okay, so the joke is about Paris Hilton. See what I mean? Like Paris Hilton's dead now.
You know it? It's actually saying.
So yeah, it's about Paris Hilton, and so this is the joke. Who would name their kid
Carol's rocking backward and slapping her knee. She's laughing so hard. She has spent the last 10 minutes giving caveats, laying out everything the joke has going against it, why it's no good. And then when the joke comes into her head, as she's about to tell it, none of that matters.
Who would name their kid after a hotel chain? I know who. The same people that would name their kid after a famous city in France. I think it's so funny. No, I